Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. Google's head of human resources, Laszlo Bock, reported that in choosing employees, they greatly value reasoning ability. He said, the second best predictors of performance, next to job task simulations, are tests of general cognitive ability, end quote. While perhaps not stating that publicly, many of my clients who are in a position to hire agree with Laszlo Bock. But most employers don't give tests of cognitive ability. So how can a smart job seeker best reveal it? Here are some tactics that my clients have found helpful. Number one, reach. Don't overestimate the importance of experience doing the job that's specified in the job ad. Of course, many employers won't even consider other applicants, but not all employers, for example, the aforementioned Bach. So, high-ability job seekers can afford to reach. Consider jobs that appeal even if you lack the requisite experience. And then use the following tips to strut your stuff. Go backdoor. Most job seekers fail when they try to cold contact a prospective employer that isn't advertising an appropriate position. They're unlikely to get a call back, let alone insider advice, or be so impressive that the employer touts the person for an advertised position, or refers the candidate to someone who could hire him, or gives their application special consideration when a job comes up that's appropriate. But high ability people have a good enough shot at getting such help that it's worth reaching out to, say, a half dozen potential hirers at your first choice organizations, whether or not they're advertising an appropriate job opening. The beauty of that is that if you're good and you're lucky, you can often land a job without it ever being advertised, and therefore avoiding having to compete with a zillion applicants, some of which are likely to have more directly related experience. If you're good both on the phone and in writing, use what I call the call, email, call method. Call after hours, giving your pitch and letting the person know you'll be reiterating it in an email, while adding your resume and maybe your work sample. I'll talk about that in a minute. A few days later, call again to follow up. If you're significantly better at either email or phone, just use that. That's call, email, call. Send a work sample. Costco gives free meatballs, not to feed the populace, but to get you to buy 10 pounds worth. In the same vein, job seekers, especially high ability ones, smart ones, highly intelligent ones, whatever you want to call them, are wise to offer a work sample. Whether you're trying to network your way into a job or you're applying for an openly advertised position, include one or two work samples that would impress your target employer. It may also be worth the effort to create a work sample specifically designed to impress that employer, something that shows what you could do if you were hired. For example, if you're applying for a director of fundraising position, you might craft a sample strategic plan. You might write a one-pager on your philosophy of board management, or you might make a YouTube video of you giving a mock talk to an audience of potential donors, just like I'm doing a YouTube video for you like this. Nothing fancy, I'm just talking into the camera. Tell intelligence-revealing par stories. In cover letters, interviews, and even within a resume, all job seekers should include par stories. That's an acronym, and it stands for a problem you faced, the clever or dogged approach you took to solving it, and the positive result. High ability people, especially when applying for a job for which on paper they're insufficiently qualified, should choose par stories that reveal how intelligence enabled them to triumph. And finally, propose a solution tactfully. Maybe based on what's in the job description or based on an interviewer's comment or question, propose an approach to a thorny problem that you would be facing on the job. For example, let's say you're applying for a global project or product manager position. You might ask, are there regions that you're unsure whether to expand to? If the interviewer says yes, ask permission to use the whiteboard or even a legal pad to diagram the process that you might use in making the decision. When you get home after the interview, reflect on your plan and in your thank you note, offer any further reflections. To avoid being presumptuous, preface your proposal with, for example, "Oh, of course you may have considered and rejected this, and doubtless there's more information I'd need to know before proceeding, but just maybe my outlining a decision-making process might give you a window into the way I think." You've been given the gift of ability. I'm just hoping that perhaps that these tips will help you find employment that makes the most of that. I'm Marty Nemko. Do feel free to give this video an honest thumbs up or a thumbs down and to comment. By the way, this is part of a 4-part series on advice for smart people. The first 2 were 5 tips for smart people in a not so smart world, 10 tips for parenting a final child, and the final installment, which I'm going to publish tomorrow, is 6 dating tips for smart people. Again, I'm Marty Nemko. Thanks for watching.